Good afternoon. Welcome. This is GB News. It's just coming up to 23 minutes after 5 o'clock. I'm Nana Akua. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Now it's time for this week's interview. And my guest today has written a book celebrating the home care sector, Time to Thrive. Now, the home care revolution also looks at redefining the industry so that it works for clients, carers, providers and the NHS and the whole community. The author suggests 12 practical steps to revolutionise the sector. So, joining me to tell me more and about his book, Chief Executive of home care provider Walfinch, Amrit Dhaliwal.
Close, but
I did.
Amrit Dhaliwal.
I kind of.
It was almost there.
Amrit Dhaliwal. Okay, you can say my whole name now as well.
Nana Akua. I was practicing out there.
Nana Akua.
Akua. There you go. Well, now we're even.
There you go. There you go. I knew that would work. I don't look so bad now. Amrit, tell me about this book and why you decided to do this. Is care your background?
Yeah, so I started in home care as a franchisee of a different home care brand in 2012. And almost immediately I realised that the whole model within home care and franchising was a little bit antiquated.
And when you say home care, what does that entail?
So home care is going in to provide some support for usually a vulnerable adult. That might be somebody that needs medication support, personal care, might just be companionship and making lunch for somebody. And often people that don't see anybody else in the whole week. So it's a really sort of crucial thing to do.
So you were doing this as a franchisee for another business, and then what did you set up your own, and then how did you do that?
This is back in 2012 that I signed my agreement. 2013, April, I sort of had this sort of epiphany where I thought, this is what I need to do for the next 20 years. I need to really work on rebranding the home care sector, driving things forward and making positive change within that, both within franchising and within the home care market within itself. And so I built my business up, sold it, and used that as a treasure chest to set up my own home care brand, which is Walfinch, which we set up in 2019 and now have a national presence.
Now, your book talks about 12 steps.
Correct. That
people could take so that they could improve the provision.
Yes.
What are the main things that you think would be the real things that people could change? Just not all 12, but just what the main ones that you...
That's a wonderful question, thank you. I think, for me, it's like you've done this before, Nana.
I wouldn't say that, I love that.
So I think, for me, fundamentally, there are a couple of things. Number one, it is about professionalising the care worker's role. Most care workers get involved because at some point or another they were interested in nursing, they were interested in really providing support for people. And I think we can do a lot of work around rebranding what care workers do and really sort of nationally come together and talk about a minimal level of education required for that and lots of training that we can offer more as a national support. The other thing I think is really important is educating providers and business owners. Now, a lot of business owners may have started as a care worker, moved up to be a manager, and then gone off to start an operation on their own without external support, without a franchise, without a consultant, and so on. And actually, a lot of those guys need support in how to run a business, how to be a good quality leader, what technologies to invest in. And that often, for me, is one of the biggest issues, because when you don't understand that, you then don't understand the metrics and the levers to pull to develop these businesses and really scale them and provide good quality support. Often we don't talk about profitability within the home care market. I was about to say,
what about money? Because that money talks and the rest of it walks in a way. People want to know, and people going into the business, the problem with care is that it's so badly paid. So if it's well paid, people are more prepared to do it, and to a higher standard. If I'm paid well, I'll do a better job. So what about addressing that issue?
It really doesn't need to be badly paid. I think in the UK we have an issue that we are chronically underfunded. And on Tuesday next week, on the 25th, the Providers Unite have arranged a peaceful march to Westminster, which will end in a picnic to show our collaboration and support, and really to talk to the government about Let's increase rates. You know, let's really fund providers, because without that, we can't do anything. Now, in my book that comes out tomorrow on Amazon, I talk a lot about the metrics within the business, and I talk about how to grow that business, and I talk about what the gross profits are required within that, and often we don't talk about that. Now, once we understand those things, we can talk about how to price home care. Home care needs to be priced at a much higher rate. The Home Care Association did a report this year where we talked about the price, the minimum price, to be £32.14, which is absolutely not the case for a lot of home care providers. And at that level, we can run profitable and sustainable businesses. And I'm truly an advocate of ethical franchising, but sustainable business development within home care.
So why does it end up that people are paid so little? Because that is a problem, and obviously we end up getting people from abroad, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think it's actually necessary, because there are people who would do the job if they weren't paid so badly.
I think there's probably 2 or 3 key things here. Number one, the way that the sector is branded. We're branded as we clean bums and that's all we do. Actually, it's much more complex and nuanced and emotional than that. And I think if we as a sector got really good at getting those stories, bottling those stories and getting those out, that would introduce people that wanted to get involved in just the companionship element and then build from there. Number 2, funding needs to improve from the government and the local authorities. Now, I think we probably need something like £8.5 billion, of which we've got 10% that has been ring-fenced for social care. We need a ring-fenced budget that helps support social care providers, because so many care providers still operate their businesses as they did 15, 20 years ago, where they go for government contracts and build through that. Now, if they are getting paid at a lower rate, then they can only pay out of that. That is fundamentally the issue. As a private provider, at Walfinch, we're predominantly private providers. And at Walfinch, we really focus then on thinking, well, what do we want to pay the care workers? We really want to pay as much as we can, and then run sustainable businesses on top of that. And it is important that there is profitability for the shareholders, because the sector is really run on the back of entrepreneurs.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? If people don't feel that they're going to make money, there's no point. If it's not a wise investment, if you're a capitalist, which most people are, they're setting up businesses, it needs to be. So if people want to get hold of the book, and remind us again about the march, is it open to other people?
It's open to other people. This is my first copy here. It's a non-resale one, unfortunately. There's a nice little strap line across that. It goes live on Amazon, and it can be received from there. But and you can contact me directly on LinkedIn and Instagram and so on. And we're doing lots of different things around that. The march is with Providers Unite, and there is going to be about 3,000 providers open for anyone, and the details can be found online for that.
That's very interesting. I think they do need to sort out home care, especially for the elderly.
It is it's a great market. There's so much opportunity here for people. But what we need to understand is when you're getting into the market, it's really about thinking about the metrics, forecasting and planning for success. And there is a tremendous amount of success, both emotionally and financially, within the home care market. So I would really urge people to review it and join us.
Yeah, it would be good for the government to review it. There's no reason why people should be paid so badly. Amrit Dhaliwal, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you.
Thank you for having me on.
He's the chief executive of Walfinch, which is a home care provider. Well, if you just tuned